In all of anime, Luffy has the most creative powers and abilities. He's stretchy, makes funny shapes, and he does this thing, but he's full of surprises and comes in 5 different forms known as gears, all super unique, like Gear 4 that has 3 separate versions, and Gear 5 that's actually a secret devil fruit awakening that's been a secret for over 800 years, and Luffy's actually a god. Okay, wait, hold up. That's all super exciting, but I think we need to start on first gear so we can fully understand how all of these different powers work. And quickly before we start, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It'll help me get into the next gear on my YouTube channel. Let's get into it. Gear 1. Gear 1 is standard Luffy. We went over 270 episodes of Luffy in Gear 1, if you will, where he used just the basic levels of the Gum Gum fruit, fighting in his unique stretchy style, surprising opponents who didn't know any better with attacks like the Gum Gum pistol or Gatling, and taking hits and laughing it off because he's made of rubber. But there's much more to Luffy's power starting at Gear 2. Second gear, or Gear 2, debuted in his fight against Rob Lucci by getting creative with his rubber abilities. He's able to pump more blood through his vessels, leading to increased speed. The huge boost in speed allows his old attacks like the Gum Gum pistol to become much more powerful. At first, Luffy entered second gear by compressing his legs and forcing blood throughout the rest of his body, giving off the glowing red skin and smoke. But these new powers came at a cost, wearing out not only his stamina but also his lifespan. Every time Luffy entered second gear, he was literally shortening his life. After the time skip, Luffy gained more control and understanding of his new powers, to the point where he no longer needs to compress his legs and he's able to activate second gear from anywhere on his body. But Gear 2 gets even better when combined with Haki. For example, the Red Hawk, a punch so fast and intensely packed with Haki, it creates flames even underwater. This attack has become a staple of Luffy and has been used against Doflamingo and even Kaido. There are times when Luffy needs to dish out even more damage than what the Red Hawk provides, bringing us to Gear 3. Gear 3 is composed of Luffy blowing air into his thumb, inflating his hand, causing him to deal a much higher amount of damage. The air inflates even his bones, making the punches much harder, like a giant car tire. The drawback being after he deflates, he turns into a mini Luffy, but when Luffy needs to do raw physical damage is when he breaks out Gear 3. Just like Gear 2, Luffy is able to combine his third gear with Haki, giving him moves such as the Elephant Gun, and he's become much better at handling this ability after the time skip, to where he's able to freely move the air from within his body and concentrate it in just his fists for maximum damage. The way Luffy was able to master his ability to inflate himself is likely what led him to discovering Gear 4. During his training with Rayleigh during the time skip, Luffy created Gear 4, and he first went into this 4th gear in his fight against Doflamingo. In a way that almost combines Gear 2 and 3, Luffy inflates his muscles, giving off a smoke from the high pressure and infusing it with Haki. Gear 4 has been shown to have 3 different forms. The first one is Bounceman. Being almost like a rubber ball bouncing up and down, attacks bounce off of his body, and he can retract his arms to unleash powerful blows. He can also retract his legs into his body that blow off steam, letting him fly around at high speeds. The second form of Gear 4 is Tankman, where Luffy ate a bunch of food and he increased his defense by becoming much bigger. Like a giant version of Bounceman, his entire body becomes a weapon that bounces back attacks at his enemies, but he has to eat a huge amount of food to become this large, and we have not seen it since. Finally, the third form is Snakeman, and arguably his most impressive form, where his body slims up compared to the other Gear 4 forms. Snakeman is an offensive focused form, greatly increasing his speed and flying around punches that can change direction, allowing Luffy to hit his opponents from every direction. Like Gears 2 and 3, Gear 4 also comes with a cost, and perhaps the largest downside of all the gears. In addition to being in a weakened state, Luffy cannot use Haki for 10 minutes once Gear 4 runs out, leaving him vulnerable on the battlefield, like in his fight against Katsukuri and most recently Kaido. Before we get into Gear 5, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Afro Luffy. Give this video a thumbs up if you think Afro Luffy is the strongest version of Luffy, and let's start on Gear 5. Gear 5 is Luffy's Devil Fruit Awakening. Because Luffy is already incredibly powerful, his Devil Fruit Awakening puts him on the next level. So much power that the world government was afraid of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. For the past 800 years, they have attempted to secure this devil fruit in every era, but not once have they ever succeeded, which led them to rename the fruit, in hopes that no one would go out and seek the true power of the fruit if they knew the true name. In fact, the true name of the Gomu Gomu no Mi is in fact the Hito Hito no Mi Maro Nika, a mythical zoen fruit that allows Luffy to transform into the ancient warrior Nika the sun god. This awakening and transformation happened in Luffy's fight against Kaido when his heart stopped and he laid lifeless on the ground. Momonosuke could no longer hear the voice of Luffy until Luffy had his heart restarted and took on the sounds of the drums of liberation. The ancient weapon Zunisha immediately recognized Luffy as a return of Joy Boy. The powers that were awakened from Gear 5 are outstanding. The great elders declared that there is no power more ridiculous, and even Kaido saying so. A body with the properties of rubber and fighting in whatever way he fancies, bringing smiles to the faces of the people. Awakening brings his body greater physical strength and freedom. With this awakening, Gear 5 can turn whatever he touches into rubber, including Kaido's body, which is what Luffy did in their fight, not only turning Kaido into rubber, but even the very lightning from the sky was turned into rubber to bend at Luffy's will. Just like the other forms, Gear 5 takes a toll on Luffy's body and requires an enormous amount of energy. We saw in their fight, Luffy returns to his normal form due to exhaustion, and before he went into Gear 5, giving everything he had left to defeat Kaido, using both the colors of Armament Haki and the Supreme King as he transfers his powers to other things. Gear 5 brought a bunch of new abilities to Luffy, allowing him to defeat Kaido, like bending his body and dodging attacks at will, bending and throwing lightning, but the most impressive thing was turning his hand into the size of the island and punching through Kaido in a giant flaming fist down to the pits of the volcano, leading us to current day One Piece and all of Luffy's gears. He has so many incredible abilities and forms. Which gear is your favorite, or which of Luffy's moves do you think is the most powerful? Let me know and I will catch you in my next video.
I expected.